Good evening, 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 good evening. How is it going? I have a match for you against Mizticall from the Smoke and Battle Finder. Now this match here is relatively old. It was during the sort of RU binge period I had, but I don't know why I haven't used it so far because it's actually a pretty cool game. Now the team I got here, the brute force of the team is going to be Embor. Just their choice banded, you know, really powerful, high attack, just to do some serious damage. Got the defensive core of Drudigan and Cryogonal, and the others are just there just to support Embor, I guess. I got two NU Pokemon, which are Hypno and Simipour, which, to be honest, I don't know why I randomly put those in the team, because I barely use them in NU, let alone RU, but he leads off with his Nidoqueen, I lead off with my Embor. I do not want to take an Earth Power, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to my Cryogonal. It turns out he goes to his Quagsire for some reason, I guess expecting me to be like Choice Scarf and then go for Earthquake or something, but I'm just going to go for Toxic on whatever comes in, which turns out to be the E-Vire. Everyone always kind of mocks E-Vire, and I have no idea why. I know it used to be really good, and it kind of got screwed over in the fact that it gets all these special moves, but it's much better at physical attacking because of its attack stat, but I still think it's pretty good. Like, it's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Now, I go into Drudigan, take a Wild Charge pretty well, and it turns out he has Life Orb, so he takes Life Orb damage, Rocky Helmet damage, Toxic damage. Now I can go to Simipour to take an Ice Punch, and from there, just hopefully go for a Scuffed Hydro Pump, do some serious damage. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention, my nose, in case it sounds like I'm talking with a clothes peg on my nose, that is another dosage of man flu, my friends. Nothing I can do about that. I guess my body is just very prone to these things at the moment, so, you know, roll on the summer, that's what I say. In comes the Slowking, which can take any hits from Simipour pretty well. I forget if I had, like, HP Grass or something, but it would be great if I did. Now I go to Drapion to hopefully take, I think I predicted either Toxic or T-Wave, and I was just kind of, you know, fingers crossed that it was going to be Toxic. Now I go to Hypno, I think expecting him to switch to something which wasn't E-Vire. I think in his commentary he said that he was just death foddering off E-Vire, but, you know, my switch here means that he can at least get off a Wild Charge. I'm not going to switch into Drudigan in case he does decide to go for another Ice Punch. So I can just take him out with a Psychic, that's fine. I mean, Hypno's got the bulk to take any single hit pretty much. So not looking like I can do much more of this Hypno because it is a Carmine Taunting kind of set. But in comes the Black Dynamite Bouffalont kind of thing here, and I go for Taunt. I kind of thought he might be the Sub-SD set. I haven't seen many battles with Bouffalont in, but the ones I have seen, it's been generally like Sub-Sword Stance with Head Charge and Earthquake or something, so, you know, I kind of thought, may as well, Psychic's not going to do too much anyway. Now I bring in my Embor here just to go for a Superpower. Now the interesting thing is, I think my Embor here is max HP, max attack, and Adamant Nature, so if his Bouffalont is Jolly Nature, and I assume it's not running any Speed EVs because it looks like a Choice Banded set or something. So if he's Jolly, then he probably outspeeds me anyway, so, you know, it's kind of interesting in that we can both just OHKO each other. It's just kind of a case of who can get off a hit first. But now I have my Cryogonal in here, he goes to Nidoqueen here. I don't know if he was expecting this or Drapion as my switch in, but it turns out, you know, this kind of works out for me to a certain extent because we can both do about as much damage to each other, and I really do want to get this Nidoqueen out the way to give my Embor some more leeway. So go for an Ice Beam, do some good damage, and it turns out I think he predicts my switch back to Embor here, so he goes for an Earth Power. That's fine. I mean, I was basically just hoping for a miss, or him to go for anything else like T-Bolt or something, so turns out I can just take him out with an Ice Beam. Now I make a pretty bad play. I go to my Simipour, expecting an Ice Punch, expecting him to expect me, to expect you, to expect her, to expect and Frank to go into my Drudigan, but the problem with that is that High Jump Kick would still do more damage being stabbed and whatnot, so that play made no sense whatsoever, so you know, I basically just lost Simipour, which could have been useful if it had the HP Grass, which, again, I don't know if I did or not, but it would have been great to have against the Quagsire and potentially the Slowking, so, you know, now I can go for a Glare at least. It does mean I can live, and therefore go for a Glare, and then next turn go for a couple of Dragon Claws. It gets paralyzed, which is a bit unfortunate, but I don't think Druddigon does anything beyond killing off this Medicham, so not really a big issue. Now in comes the Bouffalon. Now again, I should have really seen this coming, because Bouffalon, he normally has Earthquake and Head Charge, and I think it gets Stone Edge, but more than likely he's going to go for an Earthquake here, so what I should have done is gone straight into Cryogonal there, because, you know, obviously Levitate, and it looks like he is choiced in some way, so that would have definitely been beneficial to me. Now in comes the Slowking. I go for Toxic, which is great, just, you know, rack up some damage on this thing. Now Slowking and Quagsire, which I guess make up the defensive core in this team, both Pokemon which used to be down in NU, and it's been so long since I've seen them that I've completely forgotten how bulky they are, like how hard it is to take down a Slowking or a Quagsire. You'll see that towards the end with Quagsire. Jesus Christ, that thing is bulky as hell. I go for Toxic just to get this Bouffalon kind of slowly worn down, and it turns out, you know, Head Charge, no chance I'm going to live that whatsoever. I thought Head Charge was like a lower accuracy move like Head Smash, but I think it is like 120 base power, 100 accuracy, so obviously no chance of missing. Now I go to Emboar. Now I'm just going to go for, I think I'll go for an Earthquake. No, I go for Flare Blitz. Now Superpower probably would have been the better bet here, just because it would do some pretty nice damage to the Quagsire. But now I've got to switch out and go into my Drapion. I'm sort of running out of options here, because I think all I have left is this and Emboar. So I had to make the switch pretty much. I can go for a Night Slash. This is a Sword Stance and then 3 attacks Drapion, I think. It works in, you know, theory, but when stuff like Quagsire's around, you can't really do too much to it, so now I go back to Emboar. I have to lock myself into Earthquake because I'm Choice Banded, and Earthquake seems the best option to try and take down both his remaining Pokemon. But unless I get off a crit, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to take down this Quagsire, because it has Recover, and, you know, it can easily take Earthquakes for days. It's non-stab, reasonable-ish base power, but Quagsire has good bulk is what I'm trying to say. And it just means he can take me out next turn with an Earthquake, and that is going to be the game, unfortunately. So if I played my Simipour a bit better, maybe, you know, kept Hypno around potentially, don't know. I could have potentially got through that, but then again, I didn't really have much to deal with Quagsire. I had no Grass type, so yeah, that's why, you know, the Fire, Water, Grass core is so crucial in a lot of games. Always handy for stuff like that. So, hope you all enjoyed the match, and with that being said, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Who else but Quagmire?
He's Quagmire, Quagmire.
Giggity, giggity, goo.